guys, we are back with another song by Eminem. I don't know if we're doing an album or non-album. What are we doing?
So we're moving on to the next album.
Okay. What's it called?
The Marshall Mathers LP2.
Okay.
So you remember we put up a poll like within the last few weeks, and I asked
Yeah.
people if we should move on to his next solo album, which is the Marshall Mathers LP2, or his next project, which was with Royce the 5'9", Bad Meets Evil, and which came out before this album.
Yeah.
So Marshall Mathers LP2 won
I
slightly.
agree with the choice.
Yeah, we'll go back to all his old stuff after.
Yeah, I feel like we should keep up with just him, and then once we finish just him, we can move on to other albums like that.
Yeah, I'm excited for that album. I love that album, so don't worry, we will get to it for sure. So yes, we're starting off with the first track from this album, which is Bad Guy. Now, I know that I've played this for you, but I don't know if you recall anything about it.
I hate being the bad guy.
I hate to be the bad guy, yeah. Do you remember the context or what it's about?
Bad guy?
Besides, now seriously, you don't know anything else besides that?
Like Skylar Grey singing.
So it's not Skylar Grey. There is a chick though.
Oh, she sounds like
Yeah,
Skylar Grey.
something like that. Yeah, I forget her name. We'll see. Maybe it's in the
He's like, I
video.
hate being the bad guy, and that's all I remember.
All right, so I got a feeling at some point it's gonna, there's gonna be like a bell going off in your
Like a
head.
light bulb.
Yes,
Ding.
but since as of right now you don't recall, we're gonna do what we did for a previous video where we're gonna play the song straight through and we'll do the breakdown after. I mean, I will pause it just for a second to check in with you,
Yes.
but I'm not gonna do any breakdowns till the end.
All right.
All right?
That sounds good.
So yeah, we'll check it out and we'll do all that.
Yes. And real quick, since this is our, wow, what happened? What did I just say? Since this is our first sponsor, we are going to beat a dead horse, and I am going to have this video sponsored as well. So this video is sponsored by SeatGeek, and SeatGeek is a place where you can purchase tickets for like concerts, games, comedians, anything that you could buy a ticket for should be on SeatGeek. And if you use our coupon code WithSmith, that's WITHSMITH, I'll throw it in the description below. And it'll be in the description, the link, but I'm going to put the code right here. And you will get $20 off your very first purchase. So you should go and do that if you plan to go see anything. SeatGeek is awesome because they will let you know if the deal you're getting is good or bad. So you can always feel confident that you are getting the best deal possible for your tickets. And also, check out our Amazon storefront while you're at it. A bunch of cool stuff in there, and I think they're like at very good prices as well. Sorry, guys, gotta run this channel somehow. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on all social media channels. I'm gonna put that right here.
Here.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Bad Guy.
It's like I'm in the dirt digging up old hurt. Tried everything to get my mind off you, it won't work. All it takes is one song on the radio, you're right back on it, reminding me all over again how you fucking just brushed me off and left me so burnt. Spent a lot of time trying to soul search. Maybe I needed to grow up a little first. Well, looks like I hit a growth spurt. But I'm coming for closure. Don't suppose an explanation I'm owed for the way that you turned your back on me just when I may have needed you most. Oh, you thought it was over. You could just close the chapter and go about your life like it was nothing. You ruined mine, but you seem to be doing fine. Well, I've never recovered, but tonight bet you that what you're about to go through's tougher than anything I ever have suffered. Can't think of a better way to define poetic justice. Can I hold grudges? Mind saying let it go, fuck this. Heart saying I will once I bury this bitch alive. Hide the shovel and then drive off in the sunset.
I flee the scene like it was my last ride. You see right through. Oh, you had me pegged the first time. You can't see the truth, but it's easier to justify what's bad is good. And I hate to be the bad guy.
And to think, I used to think you was the shit, bitch. To think it was you at one time I wore shit. Think you can hurt people and just keep getting away with it? Now this time you better go and get the sewing kit, bitch. Finish this shit so you can reap what you sown it with. Thought some time had passed and I'd forget it. Forget it. You left our family in shambles. You expect me to just get over him? Pretend he never existed? Maybe gone, but he's not forgotten. And don't think cause he's been out the picture so long that I've stopped the plotting and still ain't coming to get you. You're wrong and that shit was rotten. And the way you played him, same shit you did to me. Go! Have you any idea the shit that I've gone through? Feelings I harbor, all this pent up resentment I hold on to. Not once you call to ask me how I'm doing. Letters you don't respond to them. Fuck it, I'm coming to see you. And gee, who better to talk to than you? The cause of my problems, my life is garbage and I'm about to take it out on you. Poof, then I'm going boosh.
Okay, quick pause.
Thought we weren't pausing.
Well, I said we'll stop for a sec. Just, do you anything yet? You remembering anything about this song in particular?
Well, he's going to see someone who has wronged him, and Kim.
All right, we'll keep going.
I flee the scene like it was my last ride. You see right through. Oh, you had me pegged the first time. You can see the truth, but it's easier to justify what's bad is good. And I hate to be the bad guy. I just hate to be the bad guy. I just hate to be the bad guy.
I've been driving around your side of this town like 9 freaking hours and 45 minutes now. Finally, I found your new address, parking your drive. Feel like I've been waiting on this moment all of my life, and it's now arrived, and my mouth is full of saliva. My knife is out, and I'm ducking on the side of your house. See, it's sad it came to this point, such a disappointment. I had to make this appointment to come and see you, but ain't here for your empathy. I don't need your apology or your friendship or sympathy. It's revenge that I seek, so I sneak vengefully and treat your bedroom window like I reached my full potential. I peaked. Continue to peep, still bent low, and keep tapping the glass lightly, then start to crescendo. Sneak all the way round to the back porch, man, door handles unlocked. Shouldn't be that easy to do this, you don't plan for intruders beforehand. Surprised to see me? Cat got your tongue? Gag, chloroform rag, gag, almost hack up a lung, like you picked an axe up and swung. Stick to the core plan, drag to the back of a trunk by one of your fans. Irony spectacular, huh? Now who's a faggot, you punk? And here's your Bronco hat, you can have that shit back cause they suck. It's just me, you, and the music now, Slim. I hope you hear it. We're in a car right now, wait, here comes my favorite lyric. I'm the bad guy who makes fun of people that die. And hey, here's the sequel to my Mathers LP just to try to get people to buy. Well, how's this for publicity stunt? This should be fun. Last album now, cause after this you'll be officially done. Eminem killed by Eminem, Matthew Mitchell. Bitch, I even have your initials. I initially was gonna bury you next to my brother, but fuck it. Since you're in love with your city so much, I figured, what the fuck, the best place you could be buried alive is right here. 2 more exits, time is quite near. Hope we don't get stopped, no license I fear. That sirens I hear? Guess 90 on the freeway wasn't the brightest idea. As cops appear in my driver's side mirror. Oh God, police! Ah! Hope Foxtrot gets an aerial shot of your burial plot, please. New plan, Stan. Slim. Chauvinist pig. Chauvinist pig Lincoln Town Car. Well, gotta go. Almost at the bridge. Big bro, it's for you. Slim, this is for him and Frank Ocean. Oh, hope you can swim good. Now say you hate homos again. I also represent anyone on the receiving end of those jokes you were bit. I'm the nightmare you fell asleep and then woke up still in. I'm your karma closing in with each stroke of a pen. Perfect time to have some remorse to show for your sin. Nope, it's hopeless. I'm the denial that you're hopelessly in. When they say all of this is approaching its end, but you refuse to believe that it's over. Here we go all over again. Backs to the wall, I'm stacking up all the mods. Toilets clogged, yeah, cause I'm talking a lot of shit, but I'm backing it all up. But in my head, there's a voice in the back and it hollers after the track is demolished. I am your lack of a conscience. I'm the ringing in your ears. I'm the polyps on the back of your tonsils, eating your vocal cords after your concerts. I'm your time that's almost up that you haven't acknowledged. Grab for some water, but I'm that pill that's too jagged to swallow. I'm the bullies you hate, that you became. With every faggot you slaughter coming back on you, every woman you insult. Better for the double standard you have when it comes to your daughters. I represent everything you take for granted, cause is Marshall Mathers, the rapper's persona's half a facade, and Matthew and Stan's just symbolic of you not knowing what you have till it's gone. Cause after all the glitz and the glam, no more fans that are calling your name. Cameras are off, sad but it happens to all of them. I'm the hindsight to say I told you so. Foreshadows of all the things that are to follow. I'm the future, the T to show you what happens tomorrow. If you don't stop after they call you, be slapped like a rap who can't call it quits when it's time to walk away. I'm every guilt trip, the baggage you had, but as you gather up all your possessions, if there's anything you have left to say, listen, makes an impact, then don't bother. So for your rest of case, better make sure you're packing a wallop. So, one last time, I'm back. For it fades in the black and it's all over. Behold the final chapter in the saga, trying to recapture that lightning trapped in a bottle twice. The magic that started it all. Tragic portrait of an artist tortured, trapped in his own drawings, tapping the thoughts blacker and darker than anything imaginable. He goes a wild stab in the dark. As they pick up the last.
Okay.
Exit time is quite near. Hope we don't get stopped.
So do you remember? Do you
Well,
remember me playing this song and discussing it with you or no?
no. I remember the chorus. But yeah, like, okay, so like two things. He says some guy's name, like it was like Michael Matthew or something like that.
Matthew Mitchell.
Okay. And then he just makes a lot of references that for some reason remind me of Stan.
Well, yeah, so he mentioned Stan.
He's
So,
like 90 on the freeway. And I'm like, I think they say that in Stan. And then they
yes.
said something else, like in the trunk or something. There was like another line that seems like it was like pulled from Stan. Like it sounded like that. So I'm like, is he like Stan's friend?
So Stan's brother. So his little
Okay.
brother. Okay, so it's actually good that we did the song this way because if we were going through it and I didn't want to ruin it, I couldn't point out the foreshadowing and the parallels. So first things first. This is the first track on
I
the
can take this out.
yeah, this is the first track on the album Marshall Mathers LP2, right?
Okay.
So this is the first thing you hear. There's no skit, there's no intro. You put the CD in and this is what you're hearing, right? So
Right into the beginning of this.
so the experience that you just had listening to the song, you're listening to the first verse, you're like, okay, I'm guessing this is Eminem talking about Kim or somebody.
Yeah, or just like anyone.
The
Or
set
maybe it would be about like the rap industry
something.
again.
Yeah,
Although I wouldn't think he would do that again.
the second verse there's a few more references there that if you're a big fan, maybe you could pick up on. And then in the
Here?
third, so it's littered throughout. So all right, I'm gonna read it and we'll break it down and we'll point out all the references of what's happening. So the song starts off. It's like I'm in the dirt digging up old hurt. Tried everything to get my mind off you. It won't work. All it takes is one song on the radio. You're right back on it, reminding me all over again how you fucking just brushed me off and left me so burnt. Okay,
Oh.
so
Okay, I get it
so
now.
we know this is Matthew Mitchell, Stan's younger brother. So I don't know if you remember in the Stan, he's like, "That's my little brother, man. He likes you more than
Yeah, and
I
he like
do."
ignored them or
So
something.
yeah, in the music video, you see that they waited in the cold for 4 hours, and Eminem's like bodyguard, like pushed Eminem away so he couldn't like meet them. But if and then in the final verse, Eminem says, "Here's an autograph for your brother. I wrote it on a starter cap." Right. So those are all things to keep in mind. So
Okay.
there's a little foreshadowing kind of here. It says there's one song on the radio, you're right back on it. So that could apply to anybody. If you're in a bad relationship, you could hear a song that reminds you of somebody. But in this case, it's Matthew talking to Eminem, who is literally
Saying that he's right back on the
he's
radio.
literally on the radio. Yes. And then he's saying, you know, you brushed me off, left me so burnt. Spent a lot of time trying to soul search. Maybe I needed to grow up a little first. Well, looks like I hit a growth spurt. Okay, so there's the first foreshadowing. When
Oh,
we,
so he's like a kid.
when we meet Stan and when we meet Matthew and Stan, he's a little boy. He's Stan's little brother. So there's a double meaning here. Maybe I needed to grow up a little first.
Yeah.
Looks like I hit a growth spurt. So literally, like he physically hit a growth spurt, and then emotionally and I guess mentally, he hit a growth spurt because he's on this mission to come after Eminem. When he says, "But I'm coming for closure. Don't suppose an explanation I'm owed for the way that you turned your back on me just when I may have needed you most. Oh, you thought it was over. You could just close the chapter and go about your life like it was nothing. You ruined mine, but you seem to be doing fine. I've never recovered. But tonight, I bet you that what you're about to go through is tougher than anything I ever have suffered. Can't think of a better way to define poetic justice.
So he's talking about the fact that like his brother was obsessed with Eminem and then like basically killed himself over him.
Yes. And then we'll see later in Matthew's verses that apparently he's reaching out to Eminem and Eminem's not responding to him, right?
Yeah.
Or he's upset that Eminem didn't reach out to him one way or the other. So, oh, one parallel I will point out that I believe this and Stan have the exact same number of verses. So in Stan, the first three verses are from Stan's perspective. You know, the first letter, the second letter, and then the third video, the audio tape, right,
Yeah, then the last one
is
is
Eminem
Eminem.
responding. So this kind of mirrors this. Matthew does have three verses himself here. And then Eminem has a final
Interesting.
one, although it's kind of like Eminem's conscience, the last one. We'll
Yeah.
get to that.
Okay.
So yeah, he's very fucking pissed off at Eminem. And he's like, oh, poetic justice, which is foreshadowing what Matthew ends up doing to Eminem in the third verse. So he says, can I hold grudges? Mind is saying, let it go. Fuck this. Heart is saying, I will. Once I bury this bitch alive, hide the shovel, then drive off in the sunset.
So
So
he's not gonna let it go.
yeah, he's like, oh, I should probably let it go. And then, no, I gotta fucking kill him. All right. Then we get into the chorus for the first time, which is so Sarah Jaff. I don't know who that is. Never heard of her before or after.
No, me neither, but
Yeah,
she's really good.
yeah, she is good. So the chorus is I flee the scene like it was my last ride. You see right through. Oh, you had me pegged the first time. You can't see the truth, but it's easier to justify. What's bad is good, and I hate to be the bad guy. I just hate to be the bad guy.
Okay.
So again, the first time you're hearing this song, the first verse, it doesn't mean anything yet. You know what I mean? Those
Of this chorus?
so
Oh,
the
the
verse
verse,
first.
verse. Okay.
So there's some things that are foreshadowing, but you haven't heard the rest, so you have no way of knowing that it's foreshadowing. Same kind of thing with the chorus here. You're kind of like, who's okay? Is this talking about Eminem? Because it's kind of like Matthew saying this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it kind of sounds like it's someone who it's almost funny. They're like, "Oh, like you see right through everything I do. You always had me pegged as being the bad guy." And they're like, "I just hate to be the bad guy." But like you're like consciously aware that you're doing bad things, but like you're still doing them anyway, which makes you actually worse than someone who doesn't realize that they're doing bad things.
Yeah, true. So yeah, so you could look at this chorus as applying to Matthew, who's the one speaking the first three verses, or Eminem, you know what I mean? So
Mm,
it's interesting. But again, if you're listening to the song for the first time, you don't really know what to make of any of this yet.
yeah.
All right, second verse. And to think, I used to think you was the shit, bitch. To think it was you at one time I worshipped, shit. Think you can hurt people and just keep getting away with it? Not this time. You better go and get the sewing kit, bitch. Finish this stitch so you can reap what you sow, nitwit.
It's like a
So,
sewing scheme.
yeah. So this is really cool, this part. So, yeah. It's Matthew saying, I worshipped you, I loved you, but you've hurt me personally, you hurt people, you know. She said, you think you could keep getting away with it. Not this time. You better go and get the sewing kit, bitch. So it's like, okay, sewing kit, what do you mean? And he
Mm.
says, finish this stitch. So obviously, sewing stitch. And then, so you can reap what you sow.
Which is like a garden scheme,
Yes.
but also ties into like sewing, like SEW, because it's like
Yes.
so and so.
Yeah, so the way the lyrics are written here, it's correct for the phrase reap what you sow, but Eminem's playing on
Hmm.
SEW. And then he tags that whole little scheme with nitwit. So
Which is like a sewing
like
thing.
like knit, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny. And then he says, thought some time had passed and I'd forget it. Forget it.
Hmm.
So I'm not forgetting that. Then he says, you left our family in shambles. You expect me to just get over him, pretend he never existed. So again, this is more foreshadowing.
Yeah, like he's talking about his brother. I don't know what I would think he was talking about, like here otherwise.
So when I first heard the song, I wasn't tipped off. I think this song was ruined for a lot of people because they heard, hey, there's a sequel to Stan out there. You know what I mean? So that wasn't the case for me. And I don't think so. I definitely didn't know what was going on until the end. Honestly, I probably listened to the whole song for the first time, beginning to end, and I still was confused, honestly. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because I mean, if you don't know his name, then you're like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah. So, yeah, this is more foreshadowing, and he's kind of showing a little more of who this is. We're getting a little more of the picture, not much, but a little more of the picture of what you're listening to is, coming into play. So, he may be gone, but he's not forgotten. And don't think because he's been out the picture so long that I've stopped the plotting and still ain't coming to get ya. You're wrong, and that shit was rotten. And the way you played him, same shit you did to me. Cold. So it says go, it's cold. So
Yeah,
that
that
was
makes more
that
sense.
was cold of you to do. So Matthew's like, oh, the shit you did to him, you're doing to me now.
Yeah, he's upset that he didn't reach out to him.
Yeah. So he
When it's
said,
like, I don't know if he would have even like realized because he's like a big celebrity. He's got a lot going on in his life. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he even forgot that Stan had a little brother.
so assuming that Stan was a real person and it really took place, you know what I mean? And like in the song Stan, Eminem puts all the pieces together and he's like, oh, fuck, I've got this for your brother. Like, oh my God, this is you who I was talking to. You would think if it was real life that Eminem would reach out to him, you know what I mean? The
Yeah,
family. But obviously, this is obsessive, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So he says, have you any idea the shit that I've gone through, feelings I harbor, all this pent up resentment I hold on to? Not once you called to ask me how I'm doing. Letters, you don't respond to them. Fuck it, I'm coming to see you. And gee, who better to talk to than you? The cause of my problems. My life is garbage, and I'm about to take it out on you. Poof, then I'm gone.
Well, that sounds bad.
So a little more foreshadowing here with the so he says, you never called to ask how I'm doing, and then the letters, you don't respond to them. So that's a direct mirror image of Stan, which was
Yeah,
the writing.
that's true. That's true.
And then yes, I'm gonna get you, and then poof, then I'm gone. So I think he's almost planning a murder suicide,
Oh,
Matthew,
okay. You could take that as two ways though.
or
Like he's gonna run away real quick, or like
could be.
he'll kill himself too.
Yeah, because we'll see in his final verse, he changes his plan. So I don't know what his original plan was. I mean, he kind of describes it, but we don't know what he would have done if the plan didn't get changed.
Okay.
All right, so then the chorus we already went through. It's just the
Yes.
chorus again. All right,
It's a long song.
it's very long. It's technically broken up into two parts when the voice changes. All right, so third verse, Matthew's final verse. He says, I've been driving around your side of this town like 9 freaking hours and 45 minutes now.
That's a long time.
Yes, so there's a theory on the internet. I don't think it's been confirmed, but at this point in time, Eminem's catalog was exactly 9 hours and 45 minutes, meaning his solo projects, like none of his like extra songs, just
Yeah,
what
like just like his album
yes.
tracks.
Yeah, so you could look it up online, people will show you, and it does add up to 9 hours and 45 minutes. So
Perfectly?
yeah, I believe it did. I believe it was exact.
Interesting.
Yeah, not deluxe versions or anything.
Just like regular?
Yes. So, assuming that is the case, then Matthew has this similar obsession with Eminem that Stan did, but
Oh,
in
wait.
an angry, resentful way.
So then he was probably listening to all of his music from start to finish.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I didn't.
Yeah, so
For some
like,
reason, I was like, oh, the time. That makes sense. I thought I didn't.
like
Okay.
that he was just going to drive as long as his albums were.
Well, no, I thought that he was okay. So it seemed to me in my head, I'm like, oh, he's just putting in like a really long time that he's been looking around for him.
Gotcha,
And
gotcha.
then Eminem just wanted to use a number that meant something and not just a random number.
Oh,
I didn't think about the fact that he was listening
Matthew.
to all of his music from start to finish.
Yes, so like I get the
That makes
picture
sense.
that Matthew is has this obsession with Eminem now, which
Mhm.
again for Stan started out with completely love, and then it was kind of like he was dejected, and that's why he killed himself and his girlfriend. This, although Matthew was his biggest fan, according to Stan when he was little, this seems to be like more just like straight anger. You know what I'm
Yeah, for
saying?
sure. Like hate listening.
Yes. So he's obsessively like he's like I gotta get this guy, right?
Mm.
So yeah, 9 freaking hours and 45 minutes now. Finally, I found your new address. Park in your drive. Feel like I've been waiting on this moment all of my life, and now it's arrived, and my mouth is full of saliva.
Ew.
So he found his house. He parked in his driveway, and he's salivating. He's like, can't wait to go ahead through with this.
You gonna eat them?
Yes. So he says, my knife is out, and I'm ducking on the side of your house. See, it's sad it came to this point. Such a disappointment. I had to make this appointment to come and see you. But ain't here for your empathy. I don't need your apology or your friendship or sympathy. It's revenge that I seek. So I sneak vengefully and treat your bedroom window like I reached my full potential. I peaked. So
He's
that's
peeking in the window.
yes, and then reach your full potential. You're
Ooh.
peaking, and then
Yeah.
literally peeking in the window. I love that line. So yeah, he's literally just describing. He's painting this picture of
Sneaking up to his house
Matthew.
to kill him.
Yes, and he gets very detailed, crazy. I can like envision this all in my mind perfectly.
Yeah, I wonder if Eminem, after he wrote this, if he like would get scared at night in his house. Oh shit.
I believe he
Like
had a
someone might
stalker.
come here.
He had a stalker break into his house.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, like I reached my full potential. I peaked, so double meaning there. Cool. Then he says, continue to peep, still bent low. Keep tapping the glass lightly, then start to crescendo. So this is the part I actually don't get. I'm like, why would you do this? You're trying to sneak in. Why would you tap on the glass progressively louder, which is what crescendo is, right? Like, what did you want to let him know you were here? Do you know what I mean? I don't know what the point of the tapping on the glass was.
Maybe it was light enough so that like if you were awake you would hear it, but if you were sleeping it probably wouldn't wake you just to see if someone was awake.
Gotcha. Maybe that actually might make
I
sense.
don't know.
So then he says, sneak all the way around back, sneak all the way around to the back porch. Man, door handle's unlocked. Shouldn't be that easy to do this. You don't plan for intruders beforehand?
Or maybe he's tapping. He said he snuck all the way around, so it's like he's tapping on the front door and then he sneaks into the back door. So like if someone's tapping on your
Oh,
front door, you're
good
gonna go to your
point.
front door and be like, "Who's there?" And
You're
then they're gonna come in your back door.
you're right. I never even put that together. So
Maybe.
Matthew's actually very smart. All right. So then, yeah, he goes around to the back porch and the back door's unlocked. And he's like, you don't plan for intruders beforehand? Then he says, surprised to see me? Cat got your tongue? Which is funny. And then he said, gag, chloroform rag, dag, D-A-G, not G-A-G the second time.
What does that mean?
Like, oh, dag, like, oh, damn. Yeah, that's what it means, right?
Okay.
So he says, gag, chloroform rag, dag, almost hacked up a lung. Like you picked an axe up and swung. They added an extra up here. So yeah, he chloroforms him, and then he's like, fuck. He almost hacked up a lung. Like you picked an axe up and swung. Then he says, stick to the core plan. Dragged to the back of the trunk by one of your fans. Irony spectacular, huh?
Yeah, that was like I was like, oh, like that's like Stan,
So yes,
the trunk.
this
But
is
then also it's like Kim.
yes. So this is it's so crazy. It's so meta. There's so many layers on this. So yes, this is Matthew acknowledging I'm doing this thing that you rapped about, right? But it's also so Stan imitated Eminem by putting his wife in the trunk, right?
Yeah,
Like in
because it like
Bonnie and Clyde.
oh, I thought that was
Well,
Kim.
both of them. They're the same storyline.
Okay.
It's just that Stan was on the same album as Kim. So,
Yeah.
like, do you know what I mean? So, Stan would have known Bonnie and Clyde, right?
Okay.
Because that was on a previous album. So, yes, Stan emulates Eminem by putting his girlfriend in the trunk, right? And then Matthew is putting Eminem in the trunk, like honoring his brother and Eminem. It's like such a meta thing. It's wild. And then he says, yeah, by one of your fans. Irony spectacular, huh? Now who's a faggot, you punk? And here's your Broncos hat back. Here's your Broncos hat. You can have that shit back because they suck. Okay, so here, if you're a big enough Eminem fan, you know what I mean? You know who this is. So, firstly, the line, now who's a faggot, you punk? You remember in Stan, he says, P.S. We should be together too. And Eminem says, that type of
Do
shit'll
you
make
like
me
me
not want
now?
us. Yeah. So there was always a theory that, because it was unclear if Stan meant it as, oh, I just want to be a friend so much, you know what I mean? Or if it was a gay thing. So,
Well, if you just want to be friends, you feel like we should be friends and not like we should be together.
yeah.
I
So
don't know.
Matthew seems to be alluding to the fact that maybe Stan was gay or maybe he's gay. It's unclear, but
It seems like Stan might not be gay, but he loved Eminem so much that he would be gay with Eminem.
that's
Because he had a
possible.
girlfriend. I mean, maybe he's bi.
Oh,
I don't
true.
know. Could
True.
be bi.
So, or maybe Matthew is gay. Either way, it's a sticking point for Matthew here because he says, now who's a faggot, you punk? And here's your Broncos hat. You can have that shit back because they suck. So, In Stan, he says, "Remember when we met in Denver? You said if I write you, you would write back." So the Broncos are the NFL football team from Denver. So you would put that together if you were a big enough Eminem fan and you had a little knowledge about the NFL. You'd be like, "Oh, Broncos, Denver." You know what I mean? You would put
Yeah, no, that
together
makes sense.
Stan and his little brother. You know,
It'd be like light bulb.
yes. So Matthew's like got Eminem in his trunk, and he's like, "Here's your Broncos hat. You can have it back because they suck."
But you said he called it a starter cap. What does that mean?
Starter's the brand
Oh,
hat. So yeah, I used to have a starter jacket when I was younger. It used to be all the different sports teams. You could get them.
okay.
Yeah, starter's a brand.
Okay, because it makes it sound like it's like a beginner hat,
Oh
like
no.
for new people
Yeah, no.
into sports.
Yeah, so starter was the brand. So yeah, I had a, for some reason I had a Colorado Rockies starter jacket when I was little. I don't know why. We're from New
Maybe you
York.
liked it.
I don't know. Okay. So then you could have that shit back because they suck. And then he says so he starts screaming here. He starts yelling,
Mhm.
mirroring Stan, the third verse, when he's recording into the tape recorder in the car because now he has Eminem in his trunk. So he's mirroring that exactly. And
Okay.
he says, "It's just me, you, and the music now, Slim. I hope you hear it. We're in the car right now. Wait, here comes my favorite lyric." Okay. So again, there's so many fucking things to tie in. So in Stan, he says, "This is my cassette I'm sending you. I hope you hear it. I'm in the car right now. I'm doing 90 on the freeway." So it's just me, you, and the music now, Slim. I hope you hear it. So again, an exact line for line mirror of the song Stand.
Yeah, it sounded like it. I mean,
Yes.
I recognized it. Um, oh God, where did I recognize it? When he's like wearing the
Later.
something about
Doing
the
90.
favorite lyric for some reason made me think of it, even though I don't even know if he says that. But it
So
just, I don't know, the way he says it, it
yeah,
sounds like something I've
he's
heard.
yelling like Stan is on in
Yeah, like
Stan
in the same
tone. Yeah.
stanza.
It's like a
LOL.
crazed. So yeah, he says, "We're in the car right now. Wait, here comes my favorite lyric. I'm the bad guy who makes fun of people that die," which is from, is it I'm Back? It's from the Marshall Mathers LP. So it's a line that Eminem has in one of his songs. So the name of this song is obviously Bad Guy, and Matthew thinks Eminem is a bad guy. And he's like, "Oh, here comes my favorite lyric. I'm the bad guy that makes fun of people that die." And obviously Stan died. So then he
Hmm.
says, "And hey, here's a sequel to my Mathers LP just to try to get people to buy." So he's taking a shot at Eminem,
Yeah, and
like,
like pretending like this is his rap song.
well, then he's saying like, "Oh, you're just doing, you're just trying to recapture the success that you had by releasing the Marshall Mathers LP2. Like it's like this failed attempt to try to relive your past glory." Do you know what I mean? Like that's what he's alluding to, and it's funny because Eminem actually kind of references that in the last verse here, which I don't agree with. I think this is an incredible album, but this is what Matthew's saying. So now he says, "How's this for a publicity stunt?" So he says that after the sequel to My Mother's LP, implying that putting out the sequel to that album is a publicity stunt to try to get, some attention for himself,
All right.
right? By naming it the same. Then he says, "How's this for a publicity stunt? This should be fun. Last album now, because after this, you'll be officially done. Eminem killed by Eminem, Matthew Mitchell,
I was like, who the fuck is that?
yeah." Says, "Bitch, I even have your initials. So I don't think Matthew's not said in the song. I don't remember if in the music video you know that his name's Matthew. Either way, he explains it here. Bitch, I even have your initials. I initially was gonna bury you next to my brother, but fuck it. Since you're in love with the city so much, I figured, what the fuck? The best place you could be buried alive is right here." So again, at this point, we had the starter cap a few lines ago, and then
Hmm.
he's giving his name. So if you're a big enough fan, you would know Stan Mitchell, right?
And then he said next to my brother.
Yes. So at this point, some alarm bells would be going off if you're a big enough fan.
Mhm.
All right. And then he wanted to bury next to him. He's like, "Fuck it, I'm just going to bury you right here in, you know, Detroit." And he says, "Two more exits. Time is quite near." This says town, but it's near that time. I hope we don't get I hope we don't get stopped. No license, I fear. That sirens I hear. Guess 90 on the freeway wasn't the brightest idea.
Yeah, that was in.
Stan.
Yeah.
Hey, Slim, I'm doing 90 on the
Yeah,
freeway.
I remember that.
Yeah. So again, this is a mirror image. Is that siren to hear? Guess 90 on the freeway isn't the brightest idea. So it's funny. He was doing 90 on the freeway to imitate Stan, right? With
Yeah.
Eminem in the trunk, but now the cops are after him. Then he says, as cops appear in my driver's side mirror, and then you hear Eminem in the trunk. Oh God, police! Unless
It kind of sounds
that's
like he's screaming, like, "Oh no, it's the cop."
unless it's Matthew saying that, like
Oh, like making fun
ironically,
of
yeah,
him.
you know. And then he says, Hope Foxtrot gets an aerial shot of your burial plot, at least. So Foxtrot's like the helicopters. Like, so he's saying, I hope the police helicopters get footage of the place that you die.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like that's kind of mirroring like in Stan when Stan realizes like, oh fuck, how am I supposed to get this tape out? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Matthew is hoping that the police helicopter at least records what's happening so people can figure out what was done, right?
Mm.
All right, this is so long, but it's crazy. All right. So at this point, he says, New plan, Stan. So he had to change his plan, Matthew, right?
Yeah, because of cops.
Yes, exactly. He says, New plan, Stan. Slim. And then he mimics Eminem in this voice. He goes, Slim, chauvinist pig, drove in this big Lincoln Town car. Well, gotta go. I'm almost at the bridge.
And that's from Stan too.
So that line, so the bridge part is,
Yeah.
yes. The chauvinist pig is from another one of Eminem's songs where he's like, chauvinist pig drove in this big Lincoln Town car over a bridge, right? So that's the Eminem line.
Okay.
So Matthew is making fun of Eminem because he has Eminem in his trunk,
Yes.
and he says new plan, and then he says chauvinist pig drove in this big Lincoln Town car over a bridge with his the line, but he stops at Lincoln Town car. He says, "Well, gotta go. I'm almost at the bridge," which is again mirroring Stan. I'm almost at the bridge now.
Yeah.
So then he says, "Haha, big bro, it's for you." Slim, this is for him and Frank Ocean. Oh, hope you can swim good. Now say you hate homos again. Okay, so they are approaching the bridge
Yes.
and he's saying, This is for you, Stan. And then he tells Eminem, This is for Stan and Frank Ocean. Oh, hope you can swim good. So Frank Ocean, famous R&B singer who's gay, right?
Yes.
So he has a song called Swim Good, right?
Okay. So that
And
makes sense.
yes, and so there's like a couple meanings with that line there because in the song he says something about like how he has a big trunk that he could fill it up with, put all the broken hearts in it or something, right? That's something about the line in the song.
Okay.
I'm not that familiar with it, but that's what he says. So they're going over the bridge. So it's, oh, hope you can swim good. It's a
Yeah,
play
like because
on,
you're going in the water.
yes. But then he's also saying, this is for Stan and Frank Ocean. Hope you can swim good. So, it's a play on Frank Ocean and he's being gay. So that whole thing. And then he says, now say you hate homos again. So again, this is the second reference where Matthew's like very upset about the way Eminem talks about gay people,
Yes.
you know? And he's like, I'm doing this for Frank Ocean also, which is funny. Okay. We're kind of done with Matthew's part here.
Okay.
The voice changes at this point. It's like a totally different tone. It has that weird sound effect thing, where it's like that, almost like when Eminem does like his demonic voices when like the devil's talking to him.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
kind of what
yeah,
happens, right? And
yeah.
the tone kind of changes. So it's like Matthew is Eminem's conscience or something. So at this point, it says, I also represent anyone on the receiving end of those jokes you offend. I'm the nightmare you fell asleep and woke up still in. I'm your karma closing in with each stroke of a pen. Perfect time to have some remorse to show for your sins. Nope, it's hopeless. I'm the denial that you're hopelessly in. So he's literally saying that, he literally says in the next line, Matthew and Stan are symbolic, but he's saying that, oh, I'm representing. So this is like a thought that's running through Eminem's head, right? That okay, this is a representation of the people that you hurt with your jokes and your lyrics. This is on the nightmare you fell asleep and woke up still in, right? I'm your karma closing in. So all the things you said and done throughout your career and your
Yeah.
life, right? They're going to come back. And now you're going over the bridge and you're dying. And it says, perfect time to have some remorse to show for your sins. So it's like, oh,
Like right
it's
before you
right
die.
before you're about to die. All of a sudden, you have this remorse now, right? And then it says, no, I'm the denial that you're hopelessly in. And then he continues, when they say all of this is approaching its end, but you refuse to believe that it's over, here we go all over again. So Eminem alluding to the fact that he could be towards the end of his career. So realize, I mean,
Okay.
this is funny because this album's 10 years old at this point,
That's so funny.
but it was 2013. So Eminem's been a famous rapper for over 15 years at this point. You know what I mean? That's like a long career. So
Yeah,
like
that is a really long time.
he's talking about dealing with the reality that his career could be ending soon. You know what I mean? I mean, we have hindsight of you have at least 10 more years, you know? But, he's come to grips with that. He's a veteran in the music industry, and it's like, oh, my career could be at its end. But you refuse to believe it. So here we go all over again. And then it kind of changes again. And he says, backs to the wall. I'm stacking up all them odds. Toilet's clogged. Yeah, because I'm talking a lot of shit, but I'm backing it all up. So there's a nice little bar hidden in there. Toilet's clogged because I'm talking a lot of shit, but I'm backing it all up.
Oh, that is good.
So yeah,
Another poop scheme.
yes. So if you had a toilet backed up with shit, that would be a clogged toilet.
So many poop
Yeah, he
schemes,
does it a lot.
Eminem.
It's
So many
funny.
in the past album, and now here.
Yes.
Icky.
Yes. So then he says, but in my head, there's a voice in the back and it hollers. So again, this is the voice, which is kind of what we were just hearing. There's a voice in the back and it hollers. After the track is demolished, I am your lack of a conscience. I'm the ringing in your ears. I'm the polyps on the back of your tonsils,
Ew.
eating your vocal cords after your concerts. I'm your time that's almost up that you haven't acknowledged. Grab for some water, but I'm that pill that's too jagged to swallow. So we're seeing that this is Eminem's conscience, and he's saying, "Yeah, I do. I'm this awesome rapper. I do these shows, but in the back of my mind, it's like, oh fuck, like should I be doing and saying the things that I do, right?"
Yeah.
And it says the fact that his conscience is lacking, right? The fact that he has ringing in his ears and polyps on his throat from performing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
There's
then the eating his vocal cords.
yeah, they're like, okay, this is your karma for what you've done, right?
Oh, okay. So like ruining his ability to perform in the future.
Yes, and then which is yeah, meaning it's bringing it to an end, and it's kind of karma, right? And then it's I'm your time that's almost up that you haven't acknowledged. So again, he's been in this for so long, like he's not realizing like this could end, right? And then I'm that pill that's too jagged to swallow. So Eminem is saying like, oh, I can't deal with this. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's like too much for him to want to acknowledge.
yeah, he's like aware of it, but like
You don't want
doesn't
to
want to
like
accept
think
it.
about it.
Yes. And then it continues. I'm the bullies you hate that you became, with every faggot you slaughtered coming back on you, every woman you insult, that with the double standards you have when it comes to your daughters. I represent everything you take for granted because Marshall Mathers, the rapper's persona's half a facade. So again, there's it's this contradiction that he sees in his own life, at least in his mind, right?
Yeah, because I mean, he's the one who wrote these lyrics anyhow.
Exactly. And like he rapped on the Slim Shady LP, he rapped about D'Angelo Bailey, the kid that beat the shit out of him and sent him to the hospital, right? And he hated him because he was a bully, right? So it's like, oh, I'm the bullies you hate that you became. And it says with every faggot you slaughtered. So, the controversy through the years about, homophobic lyrics, right? And then the women you insult. So the same shit. He's accused of misogyny. And then the double standard you have when it comes to your daughters. So you can say whatever you want about women, but when it comes to the women in your life, your daughters, you have a different standard. So you're a hypocrite. And then it says, I represent everything you take for granted. And then
Okay.
the rapper's persona is half of a facade. And Matthew and Stan's just symbolic of you not knowing what you had till it's gone. Because after all the glitz and the glam, no more fans that are calling your name. Cameras are off. Sad, but it happens to all of them. I'm the hindsight to say I told you so. Foreshadows of all the things that are to follow. I'm the future that's here to show you what happens tomorrow. So again, he's literally saying Matthew and Stan are symbolic of you not knowing what you have in your life, not appreciating it, taking for granted, right?
So like real quick, then so then this is just he was imagining that Matthew was coming to kill him, like he didn't really come to kill him.
So, I mean, I think Matthew killed him in the same way that Stan killed himself. Do you know what
Okay,
I
so like
mean?
it wasn't just like his conscience the whole time. Like how
So,
it's saying here. They're
so,
just symbolic.
so it's hard to say because, like, if Eminem really died as a result of Matthew killing him, there wouldn't be any more songs, technically, I suppose,
Well,
right?
that's if it were real life, but these are all just songs. But like in a song, it could be imagined, you know, like he could all of a sudden be like, and but it was all my conscience, blah blah blah.
So
So like I'm
I
wondering,
get what you're saying.
like,
If they're symbolic, it's like, oh, in the song, did this even happen? Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? So I'm not sure actually. I assumed it, but I don't know.
we'll just say it happened. Because
Yeah.
then I'm confused.
Yes. So then and then he's specifically referring to after the glitz and the glam, the fans aren't calling your name, there's no more cameras, and it says sad, but it happens to all of them. Again, it's him dealing with this reality that one day his career is going to end and it could be soon, right? Then he says, I'm the hindsight to say I told you so, foreshadows of all the things that are to follow. I'm the future that's here to show you what happens tomorrow. If you don't stop after they call you the biggest laughing stock of rap, who can't call it quits when it's time to walk away, I'm every guilt trip, the baggage you had. But as you gather up your possessions, if there's anything you have left to say, unless it makes an impact, don't bother. So the little cool little scheme here. Every guilt trip, the baggage you had, but as you gather up your
Hmm.
possessions.
Like a vacation scheme.
Yeah, so the guilt trip and then baggage on a trip and then possessions in your baggage for a trip. So it's a cool little thing. And then if there's anything you have left to say, unless it makes an impact, don't bother. So say something in your rap. Otherwise, what's the point of doing it? Then it says, so before you rest your case, better make sure you're packing a wallop.
And that's still with the packing
Case,
scheme and
suitcase.
packing.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Packing a wallop and then resting your case. So again, like suitcase kind of.
It was like a whole packaging scheme.
Yes. All
At
right.
least it's not poop.
Yes. And then here's the last little bit. So he says, so one last time, I'm back before it fades into black and it's all over. Behold, the final chapter in the saga, trying to recapture that lightning trapped in a bottle twice, the magic that started it all, tragic portrait of an artist tortured, trapped in his own drawings, tap into thoughts blacker and darker than anything imaginable. Here goes a wild stab in the dark as we pick up where the last Mathers left off. So
Okay.
he's saying, so one last time I'm back, and this is before it fades to black. Behold the final chapter in the saga. So the Marshall Mathers LP2, he's looking at least at this point in time, as the final chapter in the Some Shady LP, the Marshall Mathers LP, the Eminem
Oh,
show. You know
his
what I mean?
final CD.
So you could take it one of two ways. You could take it as that because he is talking about retiring, but at least the final chapter of this saga. So like this portion of his career, at least. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then, like he says, trying to recapture that lightning trapped in a bottle. So he's recognizing that, like, he peaked and he had, encore and relapse and recovery. Recovery came back up there. But, he's like, all right, I'm trying to, recapture what I once had. And then I love this line: the tragic portrait of an artist tortured, trapped in his
Hmm.
own drawings.
Yeah, that's a good line.
Yeah, so I mean, he's obviously his drawings are music, his music, songs and raps and stuff.
Yes.
But it's like, oh yeah, he kind of like is trapped. The whole Slim Shady Eminem personas kind of like boxed him into, you know,
Yeah, like just like a character.
yeah, And then, yeah, tap into thoughts blacker and darker than anything imaginable. Then he says, "Here goes a wild stab in the dark," meaning like he's just trying to recapture that. And then he says, "As we pick up where the last Mathers left off." And at this point, the song ends. It goes directly into the next track, which is a skit called "Parking Lot." Which, if you remember, the very last song on the original Marshall Mathers LP is "Criminal," where he goes in, robs the bank, and then at the very end, he's in a parking lot. So it literally picks up there.
But also one thing that I don't know if you just pointed this out, If you did, I missed it.
Yeah,
But when he says, as we pick up where the last Mathers left off, like he's referring to the last Marshall Mathers LP album, but also like him as being a different person.
that's
So like,
interesting.
and
Yeah.
he's like the Marshall that he is today, and he was the Marshall who he was last
Oh,
time. Like he's
interesting. Yeah,
sober
yeah,
now.
yeah.
He's like a different
You're
person.
right. That is a good point. No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
That's very good. Yeah, I like that. I think
Mhm.
that's true too, because he does, like you said, sober. He has this different mind state.
Yeah,
So yeah, it goes right into the parking lot
it's over.
scheme. Yes, I
My
know that was a
God,
fucking long
this
one.
is the longest video we've ever done.
Yeah, it
We
is.
usually do 2 videos, and we usually save about an hour to do them, and this is almost an hour long video.
Yes. So
My God.
the parallels are crazy. It's scattered throughout the song, and it's funny. The Marshall Mathers LP2 picks up where the Marshall Mathers LP left off on the second track, because again, this is the first thing you hear.
Yeah,
So, but yeah. So, what are your thoughts?
it's really good. Both portions of the song are really good. The first portion is amazing, like where you have no idea who this is about or what's going on, and then you eventually come to the realization that it is Stan's little brother. And I think if you really know Eminem that well, then it must have been like really amazing for you to listen to for the first time.
Yeah.
But then I feel like the second half confuses me, and I'm like, wait, like, did that really just happen? Did it not? Like, it's really interesting, but I feel like they could have been split, maybe.
So interesting enough, I have the lyrics pulled up, which I actually didn't even use. But on Lyric Genius, they do break down the lyrics into part one and part two of the song. So like
Yeah.
this way, they do consider it two different parts.
Like, I can respect the rap schemes, like that, like packing scheme and the garden scheme, and like the other schemes that were going on were really, really good. Like, really, really good.
Yeah,
But I feel like I prefer part one. I think
yeah,
it's like a cool, fun story to tell.
yeah. So I actually really like the second part. I do. I it gets me like amped up. You know what I mean? And I kind of get the chills hearing it.
Also, it might just be because this is a very long
It
song and it's
is.
like 7 minutes long. So, like, by the time we get there, I'm just like, oh, damn,
I know because
it's been a
we
while.
listened to it through, and then we went back.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that might be it. Maybe one
Yes.
time I'll listen to it without the beginning part, but then I don't really think it would make much sense. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really good though.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's a classic. And people, when we did Stan, they were, hey, do bad guy. They fucking ruined it, but
I
you didn't
didn't
remember. So,
know. That was a while ago,
yeah.
like a few months ago.
Yes.
But yeah,
Thank-
so check out SeatGeek. Use our promo code in the description if you want to get some tickets for anything. Maybe Eminem will go on tour this year,
Hopefully.
and you can use the coupon code. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you. Bye.
Bye.